When I became mayor, I said, you know what, I'm going to talk about it because I want the world to know what we had here in the city of Manhattan Beach in 1912. An entrepreneur, a black woman, that said, I have the money, I want the land, and it thrived. People from all over Los Angeles County came here to this beach because they couldn't go anywhere else to enjoy the Pacific Ocean freely. We must never, ever forget that. So,
the park was built, I believe, 30 years, 1957. So it stayed vacant. Just was an empty plot for 30 years until I believe a graduate student at, we don't know where, was doing his thesis. UC Davis was doing his thesis on Bruce's Beach and said, wait a minute, this was taken by eminent domain for a public park. They clearly did not do that. And once that was brought to light, I think the city quickly threw some grass up there.
Yes, in answer to your question, the Bruce family wanted to know also how the state came to be in possession of our property. In the course of my research, you know, how they digitize the city council minutes and things of that nature, the important documents to the city. I went on their site and conveniently all the documents from 1924 to 1927 city council minutes were not posted.
Justice for Bruce's Beach. Thank you to the movement, to the people. Thank you. Power to the people.
Well, thank you so much for being here today. I'm D'Artagnan Scores. I'm the Executive Director of Racial Equity for LA County. So one of the things that we've been thinking about strategically is how we bring the community together to both identify the truth of this matter as well as the ways in which we can heal. And so with the leadership of Mish Ward, as well as Hildy Stern and others, we've been meeting to talk about strategies to bring the community together. That is very much, this is a moment for reconciliation. And this is an opportunity for us to heal racial injustice, not only here in the city of Manhattan Beach, but to serve as an example for this country after the death of George Floyd, right? Ahmaud Arbery, after all the Asian hate incidents that we continue to see, this is an opportunity for this community to stand up and say, we are all in this together, and we're gonna do what's right by each other.
Bruce right there, back at Bruce Beach again. This time, of course, flowers, since the last time I vlogged, did a video for my channel about them. As you see today, we had an meeting, an official meeting with all the representatives outside today that were, you know, doing this whole movement to get the Bruce's land back and to pass it to their children, or whatever way that this family wants to distribute the wealth, distribute this land. And oh my God, that was pretty significant today to see this happening. And if you caught my vlog that I did last year, like I was saying, this thing has really taken off since then, and it's because of you guys that's been sharing the whole, you know, sharing the video, sharing the message, getting the word out to where this thing took off. Because I've been talking about this since, you know, 2016 when I first met Gary Bruce and his cousin Lois Bruce right here at Bruce Beach. And I've been coming here since 2014, I think, or before that, actually before I even moved here. I used to come to this beach, so it's just exciting to see this. And
as a mayor of this town, former mayor of this town, to welcome the world to Bruce's Beach, Manhattan Beach here in Los Angeles County. As Willa and Charles Bruce said, all are welcome. When the Honorable Supervisor Janice Hahn called me last year and said that she was going to get involved in this, I'm like, uh-oh. And then she asked me to work with her staff, and I worked with her great staff. And then I kind of waited around to see what was going to happen, because I'm like, you know, I'm a black man. You know, I can't get overly, you know, anxious and waiting to see if something's going to happen. So I just was waiting. And then she called last week, and you know, you look at your telephone and it says the supervisor. You're like, I gotta take this call. And then she told me what she was going to do. And I said, you get into some good trouble. And she agreed. But I'm very, very grateful to you, Janice, for everything that you're doing. Yeah. And to the Senator, Steve Bradford, my friend, leaving here at the South Bay, going up to the Capitol. Now he's getting into some good trouble up there and gonna do the right thing for us as well. We're very, very appreciative of you, Steve. Al, we love you, man, and we know you're gonna do right by this city and this district as well. We really, really appreciate you. And I just wanna also say to Hildy Stern, our Mayor Pro Tem, thank you, Hildy. Your heart is as big as the Pacific Ocean, which we stand by. Your courage is right there on your sleeve. We love you. We love you and we stand with you. And to all of the members of the public, I know over these last few months, you've been slapped up across the head and been torn, and some of you have lost your jobs over Bruce's Beach. I'm here for you. Yeah. The supervisor's here for you. The senator's here for you. We will get justice here in the city of Manhattan Beach. Stand by. But overall, we're here to honor Willa and Charles Bruce. You know, I can just kind of feel Willa right here, right now. You know, she said, this is my land. You know, and I'm gonna keep it. You know, we're gonna make sure that her descendants do keep this land. I've been here for over 30 years, more than half of my adult life. And 17 of those years, I've given back to this community as a mayor, council member, commissioner. And it was about standing up for the people that were considered the least amongst us. The seniors who couldn't afford to stay in their homes when utilities were wanting to go underground and the cost was going to run them out of the city. I'm like, no, I'm standing up for them. And when my friend Bob Brigham came to me when I first moved here in this town 30 years ago and told me about him riding across the street up there on the bus with his mom and said, Mom, why is that place overgrown with grass? And the mother said, shh, we don't talk about that here. Well, when I became mayor, I said, you know what? I'm gonna talk about it because I want the world to know what we had here in the city of Manhattan Beach in 1912. An entrepreneur, a black woman, that said, I have the money, I want the land, and it thrived. People from all over Los Angeles County came here to this beach because they couldn't go anywhere else to enjoy the Pacific Ocean freely. We must never, ever forget that. So I am so grateful that all of you are here today. And just make sure that you support Supervisor Hahn, the senator, the assembly member, to make sure the right thing is done and this land is returned back to the Bruce family. Thank you very much.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, you were supposed to introduce Kavon Ward. No relation. But please welcome Kavon Ward, who literally has been raising the issue of Bruce's Beach for a while now and started Justice for Bruce's Beach. And it was people like me who finally got it. And thank you for being way ahead of us on this one. Please welcome Kavon Ward.
Thank you, Supervisor Hahn. Justice for Bruce's Beach. Thank you to the movement, to the people. Thank you. Power to the people.
That's right.
You know, as Alicia Garza so eloquently states in her book, The Purpose of Power, movements do not have official moments when they start and end. And there is never just one person who initiates them. Movements are like waves, like the waves crashing against the shore here at Manhattan Beach. They ebb and flow, they are perpetual, their direction dependent upon the conditions that surround them and the barriers that obstruct them. We inherit movements. I inherited this movement on Juneteenth of 2020 when I realized that the history on that plaque was inaccurate and incomplete. And while my initial thought was to have the plaque demolished, just to that big slab of concrete, Source moved me to demand that the land be given back to the Bruce family. I have to give recognition to the chief. He's been researching and seeking justice silently, sharpening his irons since before they renamed the park Bruce's Beach. And as I play my part in this movement, my ancestors, they travel with me. They speak through me as I chant justice for Bruce's Beach.
That's right.
And like Willa Bruce, I am protected by the Most High. So your death threats, your intimidations, and your dog whistles, they won't silence me.
That's right.
Now is the time for reckoning. Reparative justice is what we seek. Apologize, make amends, pay restitution to the Bruce family. Manhattan Beach restoration and reconciliation is not the sole responsibility of LA County. But thank you, Supervisor Hahn and Senator Bradford, for taking accountability and for positioning yourselves on the right side of history. Thank you for being waves in this movement with me as we are on the precipice. We, the movement, is on the precipice of making history. Thank you, everybody.
Right on, right on.
Yes, it's not a lot, but we all came from four plantations, so we family. Yeah.
You came by hot.
Hey, brother, that's what we're supposed to do.
Real talk.
That's how you get.
Oh, I know you were waiting.
You apologize. Forgive us.
That's okay.
That's all over with.
That's what I'm talking.
How does this feel as a Bruce to see this going on?
I'm excited. I'm overwhelmed. All my family members were saying go, 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 because they're back in Kansas, and they're waiting for me to have some kind of response. And it's our duty. More than I can express in words. It's a good feeling because I never thought that this would come to life. And God is so good. He make things happen when you think there's no way.
Yeah, you all have had a huge family legacy.
Yes,
and
yes.
what does this mean for the younger children in your
It gives them opportunity to know that we are part of this. We are part of this. We're not just here, and we've been in power for so long, and now giving back is a step toward getting back. You know, being able to pass it down to the generation what we inherited through the years. It was taken away from us, and now we're getting it back.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Okay.
Listen to your question. The Bruce family wanted to know also how the state came to be in possession of our property. In the course of my research, you know how they digitize the city council minutes and things of that nature, the important documents to the city. I went on their site, and conveniently, all the documents from 1924 to 1927 city council minutes were not posted. But our resourceful legal team has gotten them. So now, we're waiting to find out, just like you, on how it ended up transferred to the state. Our next steps, to get possession of our land, then have a week-long family reunion with 3,000 people here on this beach.